The day started like any other. The world turned. War dragged on. And the illusion of control held firm in the Kremlin. But by nightfall, that illusion would be shattered, burned down by a single drone, a silent machine, no bigger than a dining table, worth less than a family SUV. But in its path stood the nerve center of Russia's war machine. And within seconds, it was gone. This was the day Russia lost control. Welcome to Diary War Global. Today, we reveal the real story behind one of the most embarrassing and devastating blows to Russian military infrastructure in the entire war. Not because of the size of the explosion, but because of what it targeted, how it was done, and what it means for the future of warfare. Deep in Russia's Volgograd region, from the sounds of artillery and rocket fire, stood a facility called Radioworks. Its name means nothing to most. But inside, the beating heart of Russia's battlefield command pulsed day and night. Radioworks was no ordinary weapons plant. It was a high-tech brain, a hub of digital coordination, the birthplace of automatic command systems, AI targeting software, encrypted communications, and real-time warzone analytics. Radioworks didn't just build tools, it built control. It built the systems that told tanks where to turn, missiles where to fly, and planes when to strike. And then, just after dawn, it burned. At least 11 separate explosions tore through the compound. Entire buildings collapsed. Flames reached into the sky. Satellite imagery later confirmed. Radioworks' production wings were flattened, its warehouses incinerated, its brand new experimental control lab, the one Russia planned to unveil in 2026, completely destroyed. But this was no airstrike, no missile swarm. According to several sources, it started with just one drone, a Ukrainian-manufactured loitering munition, launched from deep behind Ukrainian lines, traveling over 300 kilometers into the heart of Russia's most secure military zone. Its price, around $30,000. Its payload, a warhead, small, enough to fit in a suitcase. Its result, the total shutdown of the Kremlin's most important digital warfare facility. This was not just destruction, this was humiliation. Military insiders now say Ukraine has perfected a new doctrine, a doctrine of smart warfare, cost-effective, precise, devastating. Why waste millions on cruise missiles when a handful of locally built drones can deliver more chaos for a fraction of the cost? These drones fly low, under radar, guided by satellite or AI. They can change targets mid-flight, and when they strike, they do so with surgical accuracy. And Radioworks was only one target. Within the same 72 hours, Ukraine's drone assault hit the Primorsk-Koaktarsk airbase, where Russia launches its Iranian-shaped drones. It struck Elektropriber and Penza, another high-value factory producing missile control systems. In the Black Sea, Ukrainian surveillance drones scanned the skies over the Golitsyn gas field, previously seized by Russia in its annexation of Crimea. None of these strikes were random. Each was chosen to disable a part of Russia's long-term military backbone. One hit the launch systems. One hit the electronics. One hit the energy supply, and hit the brain. What's more terrifying for Moscow is the price tag, $30,000. That's it. That's all it took. Less than a modern tank tire. Less than what Russia pays for 1 week of fuel at the front. But that drone, that single aircraft, delivered a message. It said, "We know where your secrets live. We know what powers your war, and we can reach it, anytime, anywhere." The psychological impact has been seismic. No longer can Russia pretend that its homeland is untouchable. The myth of Fortress Russia has collapsed. The very systems that guide its defenses were shut down, and the nation that built ICBMs and hypersonic warheads was outmaneuvered by one silent UAV, costing less than a guided bomb. But behind the battlefield, politics stir. Sources close to the operation believe this attack wasn't just a Ukrainian initiative. It was synchronized with diplomatic pressure. US General Christopher Donahue, who commands operations in Europe and Africa, reportedly briefed President Trump personally. The message: Ukraine is ready. The offensive cannot wait. Autumn rains are coming, and the window is closing. In response, Trump slashed Russia's ceasefire ultimatum from 50 days to 10. The world was watching. And as Ukraine launched its drones, Trump tightened the noose. If Ukraine's offensive succeeds, Trump gains leverage. He can say, "I backed the right strategy." If it fails, he shifts the blame. Either way, the battlefield is no longer just military. It's diplomatic, economic, psychological, and yet, while Ukraine sharpens its tactics and Russia scrambles to patch its wounds, a far darker shadow looms on the horizon. Asterisk, because war doesn't end when the guns go quiet. It ends when the soldiers come home. In Russia, that homecoming has already begun. But it's not a celebration. It's a catastrophe. Over 240 civilians inside Russia have already been killed by ex-combatants pardoned for their service. More than 220 seriously injured. These aren't rumors. These are confirmed deaths. Victims of rape, arson, beatings, assaults, all committed by men the Kremlin sent to war. Criminals, repeat offenders, alcoholics, men with nothing to lose and now nothing to fear. They return home with PTSD, with rage, with a sense of betrayal. They were promised honor. They were promised status. They got trauma, poverty, and silence. And now they lash out. The Kremlin pretends nothing's happening, but local governments are panicking. Some are pushing veterans into remote areas. Others offer fake jobs or ceremonial medals. But the reality remains. Russia is welcoming home a storm. Thousands of men trained to kill, abandoned by the state, are walking its streets. They don't want parades, they want vengeance. And if the state won't give them a future, they'll take it by force. This is the real cost of war, not just in money or territory, but in people, in trauma, in what happens when a government builds an army it can no longer control. Because as we saw with radio, control is fragile, and once it slips, chaos follows. This was the day Russia lost control, not just of a facility, not just of a drone corridor, but of its narrative, of its stability, of its claim to invincibility. The war has entered a new phase, cheaper, faster, smarter, and much more dangerous. You've been watching Diary War Global. If this opened your eyes, like, share, and subscribe. The next strike may already be underway, and the next control center might be closer than anyone expects. Stay sharp, stay informed, and stay with us on the front lines of history. Asterisk, asterisk.
Parachute or net, or use the optional vertical takeoff and landing capability for additional flexibility and a reduced logistics footprint. In turn, the Tekeva AR-5 is an advanced tactical UAV with SATCOM support for medium and long-range maritime and land ISTAR missions. The consequences of the war with Ukraine will hit Russia itself hard. The main threat is not even defeat on the front, but what will happen after, when tens and hundreds of thousands of armed, injured and deceived thugs return home and begin to take revenge not on Putin, but on neighbors, passers-by, their families. Researcher Elvira Barry writes about this in an article for The Spectator. Not the best descent to war. The main contingent was poor people from remote corners of the country with a criminal past, alcoholics with no prospects in life, and for many of them the army became a chance to feel like people, strong, respected, needed. But the fairy tale will end at the moment of demobilization. They will return with PTSD, with unfulfilled promises, with pain and hatred. It is already known that more than 240 people in Russia were killed by those who received pardons for participating in the war. Rapists, murderers, repeat offenders. The Kremlin will let them into the cities and villages again, and again it will pretend that nothing is happening. Many have already returned to their old ways of life, leaving behind a trail of rape, arson and murder. In the 2.5 years since the war began, several hundred civilians have already fallen victim. At least 242 people have died. Another 227 have received life-threatening injuries. With the trickle becoming apparent, few will be happy to see these people, who will most likely bring with them aggression, demands and problems. Russians already understand that the whole heroic image of a soldier on TV is a lie. In reality, these are the ones who will go and demand, threaten and kill, because no one wants to live on a regular salary after 300 to 400,000 in military payments, and the state will soon cancel these payments along with the attention to these heroes. Local authorities are already preparing utilization. Some will be sent back to the army, others will be settled far from the cities, given symbolic posts. But the power, resources and respect will remain with the bureaucrats. Soldiers, even crippled ones, are of no use to anyone. They will not be allowed into cafes, will not be accepted in society, and at best will be made heroes on a poster. Thousands of men accustomed to resolving conflicts with weapons will go home. Heavy drinkers, unemployed, without fear of the law. They will not forgive either society or the state for their new poverty, and the state will pretend that nothing happened. Those who return from the war, especially the maimed ones, will become a symbol of what the Kremlin fears most of all, a living reminder of failure, pain and price. They will be hidden, pushed out, silenced, but they will not want to remain silent. They have already learned to kill, and they have returned home. I suspect a similar fate awaits those those who return from this war, especially badly disfigured. They are a living reminder of the catastrophic price Russia paid for Putin's imperial ambitions, a price the Kremlin desperately wants everyone to forget, at least until they are ready to start a new war.